Hello everyone, I am short for time, so this might be a little short, but anyway, the market looks like it's established its footing, that it wants to go higher again. I am not 100% certain about that, and we will not be certain about that until we clear the high day of this day here in the NASDAQ. When that happens, this index will go back to a buy signal. If it stays in this range, neutral. If it breaks below these lows in March, it's going to go to a sell signal. So that's where we're at on this index. The Russell 2000 is also inches away, but not quite above that high day of 1265.85. So it remains under neutral, but it is extremely close to switching. And the S&P 500, great day today, retaking its 50-day moving average on strong volume. The New York Stock Exchange, excellent bounce off its moving average. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, another strong showing above its 50-day moving average. And more importantly, the Dow Jones Transportation Average doesn't look great, but it didn't completely collapse and break down, so there's still hope that it could bounce and recover here. However, if it doesn't, I believe we could just roll right back over. So I'm not convinced of anything yet. You know, the market looks really good. It's good to see us gap lower and then finish stronger from the day before. That's bullish price action. If we would have gapped up and then closed near the lows, it would have been bad. But it's unfortunate we couldn't go off at the high of the day. We only had one real sell position. KE as a 50% sell. You can go and get rid of all of it. What I might do is go ahead and split these up. I know it's kind of cutting hairs here, but I think right now maybe my final sell stop is at 13.25. That's automatically going to get raised up to 13.34. But I might split it up in half, and even though that's kind of crazy to me, so I think I'm going to go ahead and negate that. But I'm not sure. I might use 13.50 as my final cut loss. Shouldn't go below the open with that swing, but with that intraday tail being so low, I'm pretty sure I'll use 13.34. But the bottom line is it shouldn't have reversed on heavier volume, but it's not closing below the open or the low day, that signal date, so it's still technically a hold. And we got a pretty good fill on it whenever it gapped down here in the morning around 14:03. So all good. But full sells, I did have two of them. Spec stocks, NTWK, we get to leave that one with a gain. What a pittance of a gain, 5%. And then CCO failed, whatever. It's in a shitty time for these spec stocks. But it's less than a 4% loss on the total position of CCO. But shitty. What are you going to do? Besides that, no other sells. Fix is close, so I'd raise that sell stop to half of the position below this low a day. And then maybe the other half right here below this low day, the signal day. Give it some time to back and fill before maybe moving higher. But we did have some long signals. I got shaken out intraday on GIMO, which means I need to, once the KE sell in the morning happens, I'll be setting buy stops at 21.21 in case it gets back above that 21.20 high, which was, you know, the first sell day. But I didn't do a sell with the 20-day moving average break. I used the low day, 20.55. Unfortunately, it went down to 20.51, just triggering it and then reversing. So we might need to put that one back on. So GIMO is an add. And then two new long positions. Tree is a perfect speculator scan quality stock. It's the number one. There's 60 stocks that qualify. Tree is one of them. It looks like it's breaking out of this flat, little short stroke-ish, you know, whatever you want to call it, kind of pattern. The pattern was on very low volume. Big volume today, opening near the lows, closing near the highs on a surge in volume. BOP didn't surge, and it wasn't confirmed anywhere else, so it's only a 2.5% position of my account capital. And then also AMCX. I'm a huge fan of Better Call Saul. Walking Dead is an excellent show, and the greatest show ever. And any of you can debate me on this. I will stick by my guns. Is Breaking Bad. Game of Thrones, yeah, sure, it's up there. But none other show is better than Breaking Bad. But Better Call Saul and Walking Dead and so many other products are leading AMCX higher. This is a CanSlim quality stock. I know for a fact this used to be a pre-perfect speculator scan quality stock, but it is not in that scan right now. So it is only a 2.5% position. This wasn't going to be in a long position just by itself in the CanSlim scan because the base isn't low enough. But the volume surge, the BOP surge, and price surge is all good enough to make the price volume BOP scan. So it is a new long. Pocket pivot point signal also. So Tree and AMCX, 2.5% position. Then also FCB, technical CanSlim quality stock, but it's kind of thin. Recent IPO. I think it'll be a better stock later on. But because it still trades, you know, some days whenever it doesn't trade that much, it still trades under 100,000 shares a day. It's kind of speculative quality. So it's only going to be an add to our first position, which hasn't failed yet, but that was only a 1% signal. So adds always have to be less than the next signal. So if you buy 2%, the next time you get a signal, it's 1%. Next time you get a signal, it's 0.5%, unless it has a long base and it looks like it could be a brand new signal on its own. But this one isn't. It's an add signal, so 0.5% of the account value in FCB. This one fails this signal here. You can go ahead and use the low a day 2680, but I still recommend for this one because it has max green bop. Until it loses the max green bop, 2650 should be used as your final stop. If it starts to lose the max green bop and doesn't fail 2650, then you start using 2680 and other levels to cut your loss. And then NHTC, longer term, good stock. High quality can slim stock. Look at the numbers. Let me go and actually pull it up just to show you, but I'm going to consider it speculative. But NHTC, look at the growth down here once it ever pops up, if it does. What a waste of a video. Oh, there we go. Look at the earnings growth. Huge. Look at the sales growth. Massive. But there's no real increase in mutual fund ownership, and that's a huge red flag to me. Why is that the case? Especially with an ROE and cash flow that's that solid. Look at all the ratings. 80s and A's. 80s, 90s, A's. Doesn't get much better than that. Sadly, it's very thin, so it's going to be a speculative stock, and with it being up 8% one day, it's too dangerous. But the pivot point right here is 1840. Add 10 cents, 1850. My limit is 1851. Might be 1855, 1860, just because it seems too obvious, but we'll see. But this is a new long position. Very, very nice pocket pivot point signal. Bop volume. Price surge. It was only in my price volume bop scan, wasn't even in my can slim scan, so it didn't even pass the up stocks today in the market smith scan because I added all the ones that were up today into my telechart William J. O'Neill scan, so didn't make it. So only 1% position, 1850. Final sell stop is below these lows. All right, everyone, gotta run.